G'day guys and welcome back to Jans_Gaming for another Dokkan Battle video. So for today's video we're obviously only hours away from part 1 of the anniversary dropping, so I thought it would be a good idea to go through 3 EZAs that we are probably more than 100% likely going to be getting during part 1 of the anniversary. So these are the 3 that we did get on JP during part 1. The EZAs could be a little bit different just because we've already got Boo and STR Goku Vegeta early, but I think part 1 and 2 should remain as is. So as you can see, we've got the Broly Trio EZA here, and then we've got the AGL Raffle Broly and the Tech Mask Bardock. So those are the 2 sub EZAs. So first EZA we'll have a look at for the details of is the physical Broly Trio. They become an absolutely integral part of the Super Bosses team, and they are insanely good if you sort of build your team with a bit of emphasis on what they do well. So for their leader skill, they go up to 4 key 150 for movie bosses, bit of irrelevant, and then 4 key to extreme physical and 100%. For their super attack effect, it gets upgraded to a greatly raised attack defense for 1 turn, so a 50% buff there, and they also greatly lower attack. So we're getting a lot of content where greatly lowering attack status effects are actually useful, so we'll definitely take that. So then for their 18 key, they've got a massive raise of attack and defense 1 turn, mega colossal, that means 100% raise. So any additional supers that you get with the Broly Trio is going to really impact their defensive numbers that you can get. And that definitely comes into play because as you can see here, they are a nuker. So they get 30% attack and defense per key sphere obtained. They get an additional 10% attack and defense if those are physical key spheres. You also get an additional 2 key per key sphere obtained, so very easy to get them above that 24 key marker. All allies, and this is where their passive gets a bit tactical. You have to sort of plan how you want to utilize them. So if you aren't getting a physical key sphere there, and getting the extra nuking, you can sort of utilize them as a support class unit. So you get 2 key and 39% attack for all allies when you're getting an AGL or an STR key sphere. So not bad. Attack can be handy, but this is where I'll definitely be leaning towards if possible. All allies key 2 and defense plus 39% with a tech or int key sphere obtained. So that's pretty good number there. 39% is really high. You also get 2 key and 15% attack and defense to all allies with a rainbow key sphere obtained. So if you're able to get, say, 7 tech key spheres with some rainbows in there, you're giving off 4 key and 54% attack and defense, which is absolutely insane. Plus an additional attack 39% when performing a super. Launches additional super attack, and movie bosses or super bosses category allies reduce damage by 10% when key is 24 or more. So we're already getting key way easier. You're going to be able to get this guy to 24 key pretty convincingly, I think. So that is super awesome. We love the Part Power Kid Goku style of damage reduction support, so we love that. They get a base high chance of evading enemy supers, so that's a base 50% chance, and then they get the guaranteed dodge with 7 or more key sphere obtained. So definitely the play is to get this guy in slot 1 and hopefully have them collect those 7 key spheres. So that's where I'm talking that having orb changes on their teams are going to be really essential. In terms of super, like you got physical Goku Black. On Broly's leader skill, you could also utilize Tech Mr. Boo. I think there is a number of ways to sort of make this work. So also helps because he randomly changes key spheres of a certain type. Physical excluded to physical when HP is 60% or less. So 60% or less isn't the hardest condition to fulfill on any random turn. There is no turn requirement for it, so that's definitely plausible. And then changes all keys spheres to physical when HP is 39% or less. I assume that that'll pretty much give a full heal too. So gets a lot in this EZA. As I mentioned, they do become a literal must run on the AGL Broly team. So really excited to get their EZA, especially because of the fact that Broly's team sort of global's missing quite a few of those units. We don't know where Selmax is going to end up, so he's really going to help fill that void. So the next EZA we'll look at is the Int, Broly, and Paragus. So as I mentioned, sub EZA from the AGL Raffle Broly. So you could definitely go and grind this one out right now if you did want to. But yeah, let's jump into it. So they go to Extreme Int 3 key 130 for their 12 key super. As you can see, they do stack defense. So that they get that 30% defensive raise, which is handy. They cause supreme damage to the enemy and lower attack. So as I mentioned, status effects are pretty handy at the moment. They've got attack and defense plus 150%, so start a turn, and then they've got a 50% chance of launching additional super when performing a super. So yeah, straight off the bat, we're able to double super there, add in hidden potential. You get 3. It reduces damage received by 26% with each super attack performed within the same turn. So you could get, if you get lucky, you get a triple super turn. That's what, 78% damage reduction. That's obviously going to be like absolute luckiest, but still, that's a really high number. And as you see, he does also provide pure or joined forces, pure Saiyans, sorry, or joined forces category allies 3 key, 50% attack and defense. So he provides huge support. Then gets attack plus 180% and high chance of launching an additional super when there is a pure or super heroes or pure Saiyans or superheroes category enemy. So there, if you're taking this guy into the right form of stage, I guess, if you're taking him into like the Supreme Battle Spectacles and taking on the Gokus, or you're taking on Vegetas, I think there is definite usability for this guy. It's obviously not going to be good against AoEs, but if you can get lucky with those super attacks, build up that damage reduction. I know I have my Broly and Paragus with a full dodge build on top. Well, not a full dodge build. I have him built with an additional dodge build, so sort of trying to maximize the potential of those supers, but also having the ability to dodge, especially as he's an int unit as well. So the only struggle here is the fact that we only have the 2 teams to utilize them on, Pure Saiyans and Joined Forces, and honestly, Physical Godku's very teetering on the edge of getting aged out here. And then Joined Forces, we don't have a 200% for Joined Forces, so it might be a bit of a mission to get this guy onto teams. But so I think for the time being, the Pure Saiyans is probably where you're going to be rocking with the Broly and Paragus. It'd be awesome if they just added in a few extra there for it, but it's not going to happen. So that's the second EZA, and then the third one here is the Bardock and Gine EZA. So they obviously come from the Masked Saiyan, the mascot Bardock, whatever you want to call him, EZA. So again, another one that you can grind up at the moment. So for the leader skill, they become movie heroes, key 3, 130%, and then STR 3 key 90. Like, that's just irrelevant, bit of a write-off for a leader skill like that. For the super attack effect, massively raises attack and defense for 1 term, so 100% buff there, and causes supreme damage to enemy. Raises all allies, and this is the kicker, attack and defense by 22% for 2 turns self-excluded. So any additional super attacks you can get with this guy, not only are you going to be getting the the extra 100% defensive raise there, but you're going to be providing 2 sets of that 22% support for the next turn. So additional super attacks on this guy are going to go really crazy. For their passive skill, it is attack and defense 122%, which is a pretty low number. Key 4 plus an additional 122% and recovers 22% HP if HP is 50% or less from the start of turn when there is an ally. If you've got a Goku on the team, I don't know how crazy often we're going to be able to trigger that part, and I feel like that 122% is going to be really impactful to his stats. Plus an additional attack and defense plus 122% when there is another bond parent and child category attacking in the same turn. That's going to be pretty easy to fulfill. Bond of parent and child includes pretty much 80% of the units in the game. Get an additional 122% attack when there is a movie boss's enemy, plus an additional 4 key attack plus 122%, and performs a crit when facing a freezer. So, I don't know. This guy doesn't really have defensive utility. He's just raw stats. You're definitely rocking him for his support, but I think you could probably pick and choose where you want to run him, and yeah, I definitely wouldn't be utilizing him as anything more than a floating support for this super attack effect. We do also have an active skill here, so it can be activated when HP is 80% or less from the fourth turn. Removes all status effects and raises all all allies attack by 22% for 2 turns. So you can get multiple 2-turn buffs here, which is definitely really, really good. But it's just the fact that he doesn't really have any defensive utility in terms of like damage reduction, guard, or dodge. Probably will make it hard to run him in a lot of the sort of more difficult content, especially if you're not below 50% HP and getting that extra 122% right there. But still, I think a solid EZA. He's got a couple of different teams here. We've got Pure Saiyans, Joined Forces, Movie Heroes, Goku's Family, Bonded Parent and Child, and Superheroes. So yeah, who knows? You could potentially use him as like the last unit that you are putting on a team, especially if you do have him built with a more dodged focus build. But let me know your thoughts on the 3 EZAs down below. Obviously, I think these guys would be really good if they had more teams. And then the Broly trio are just going to be like a must run with the AGL Broly. So definitely keen for that EZA to drop. But don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to keep up with new content, and hopefully I'll catch you all on the next videos.